Hey guys, so I wanted to create this video to show you all how to print and set up my half letter size monthly budget planner. And so I know it can get a little confusing when you have two pages appearing as one page. And so I wanted to walk you through to clear any confusion. One thing I do want to mention though is make sure that you have Adobe Acrobat Reader. It is completely free. If you don't have that installed on your computer already, I'll leave a link in the description so that you can download it. But I really, Adobe Acrobat Reader is my preference because the printables print out exactly as they're supposed to with that application. So what you're gonna do is go to where you save that file at and open it up. So mine automatically opens up in Adobe, but if you're new to Adobe, you may have to right click and go to open with, and you should see it show up here. If not, you'll have to press other and then find it. When you open up the file, you're going to see this appear, and you'll see that there are two pages to one US letter. So this whole white area here that you see is one regular copy size piece of paper, so US letter size. With half letter size, you can fit two half letter size pages to one US letter size. So sometimes I will put two pages to a page because it saves you paper. And what you'll notice is they will look out of sync. So as you can see, these don't look in order. But rest assured that once you actually print them and cut them out, everything is going to sync up. When you're ready to print, go ahead and hit the print icon, and then that print dialog box will show up. The first thing I'm going to show you is duplex printing. So if your printer can automatically print front and back, that is what we're starting with, and the settings are quite simple. The first thing you want to do is make sure you have the right printer selected. There is a drop down box so you can change the printer if you need to. We're going to print one copy, and then we're going to print all pages. Now the really important part is the page sizing. You want to make sure that actual size is selected. You'll go ahead and click on both sides of the paper, and whenever you have something that's printing in landscape mode, which is the long wide box that you see here, you're going to flip on the short edge. And then as far as the orientation, you can leave that set to auto. And you'll just go ahead and print that, and your printer will automatically print front and back. Now to print manually, which means you have to actually physically take the pages out, flip them around, and put them back in your printer so that it can print on the other side. You follow a similar process. Go ahead and hit the print icon to bring up that box. Again, just check your printer to make sure the right one is selected. Same here, one copy. Now instead of all for all pages, we're going to press more options, and we're going to print all of the odd pages first. And then again, the most important part is to make sure actual size is selected. And orientation, you'll want to leave that as auto. Alright guys, so these are all done printing. So the only thing I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it in the same orientation that it's in, and I'm just going to reverse the pages. So all I'm doing is taking one stack from the left and putting it over to the right, and I'm going to keep doing that. Alright, I'm just trying to straighten up the pages here, line up all the edges. But I'm keeping it in the same orientation that it was in when it printed out the printer. Now what you're going to want to do is, some printers may require that you flip the pages around in order to print front and back, so you'll have to work with your printer and figure out which way your pages need to be for your specific printer. But I can tell you, for my printer, just going to take these pages out that's already in the printer. But for my printer, you can kind of see the settings here. So I wanted to print on the bottom side, so I'm going to have the printed side up. So all I'm going to do is take my pages here and put them directly in my printer in this way. So my printer does not require that I have to flip or do anything else other than reverse the pages. So I'm just So as you can see, my printer does give me the option to reverse the pages, but I wanted to do it manually just in case your printer does not have that option, does not give you that option. But you do have to reverse the pages for the pages to print out how they're supposed to. The one thing you might want to do is do a test copy to see how you need to put your pages back in your printer so that it prints in the correct orientation. With some printers, you may need to flip your pages. You have to look at your specific printer and look at the settings to see how you need to manually insert your pages to be able to print front and back. So instead of printing all of your printables off at once, you may want to do a test run with maybe 2 pages to see if it prints the way it needs to, but you may have to work with it a little bit or look up the manual for your printer, or maybe look up a YouTube video on your specific printer. So now we're going to go ahead and print the other side. So hit that print icon so that the printer dialog box can appear, and then you're going to click on more options again. And this time we are going to print all of our even pages. So our even pages only. Again, we're still on actual size here, and we're in auto mode for the orientation. And then we're just going to go ahead and print those. Alright, so these are all printed, and I'm going to leave it in the same orientation, the same order, but I do want to show you the front and back of a few pages so that you can see it printed the way it was supposed to. So as you can see, I have expense tracker on both of these. Alright, so I took these pages right out the printer. I ended on the expense tracker, so that was at the top, and I left them right in the same order that they were in. So now what you're going to do is trim these. Now because this is a half letter size, it's basically cut in half one regular US letter copy size page, and we're just cutting that in half. It's basically gonna be 5.5 inches. So I'm just trying to give you some light here so you guys can see. So I can't cut all of these pages at once, so I am going to just cut a few at a time. And what I'll do is, after I go ahead and cut them, I'll just flip them over like this, and I'll continue to do that, and then I'll turn all of them over so that it'll still be in that same order so that you guys can see. So what we're gonna do, you can see 5.5 is right here. So we're gonna take the left edge here and line it up at 5.5. So again, the left edge of this page is right here on the 5.5 line, and I'm just going to trim it. And again, once you trim it, keep it in 2 separate stacks, because this is going to be important when it's time to hole punch. So all I'm going to do is flip both of them over like this, and then put them off to the side. And I'll go ahead and do the rest of the stack the same exact way. So I just flip my stacks back over because we're just going to hole punch on the insides. So I have 2 punches that I use. I have the classic Happy Planner punch, the 365 punch here, and then I also have a tool punch. So the tool punch comes in an 8.5 size. So what you're going to want to do, I don't know if you can see, but on the tool punch, you have an 8.5 marker here. Trying to show you guys. Just make sure that this arrow is pointing to the 8.5 marker. And then all you're going to do is line up your pages right to this edge here. Line up your pages right to this edge here, and then go ahead and hole punch. So I'm going to show you on both punches. So on this stack I'll use the Happy Planner punch, and then on this stack I'll go ahead and use the tool punch. So again, we're hole punching on this. So essentially what we're going to be doing is turning them over again. Alright, so I'm just going to flip it over and then punch down. And after I punch, I'll leave it flipped over and then put that in its own stack. So once you punch, you should end up with this page here. Once they're turned over, you should end up with this page, and your hole punches are going to be pointing to the right side. You'll go ahead and leave that pointing to the right side. Now we're going to do our happy planner punch. Again, we're going to be punching this inside edge here. So with the happy planner punch, the happy planner, this is the classic size hole punch, which is 9.25 inches in length. And so what I like to do when I punch these is I like to line it up where that first P is. So I'll go ahead and insert the pages, and then I'll line it up right at the edge of that P, so that the only letters that I see is the and the HA. And I'll just punch. And then I'm just going to flip it over and put it in its own stack, so that these hole punches now point to the left side. Alright, so all I did was punch the inside and I turned it over, and this is what you're left with. So now what you're going to do is, all you're going to do is grab from your left stack and then your right stack, and you continue on that same process until you're all done. But when you're grabbing the pages, make sure the hole punches are on the same side. So once I grab from the left stack, I'm going to grab from the right, but I'm going to kind of turn the page so that both of the punches are on this left side here. I'm going to do the same thing. Now I'm just going to straighten the pages out so that all the edges line up. And we're going to do a flip through so that I can show you guys that everything printed in the right order. So that is it. That's how you print my printables out and cut them out, as well as align them up. If you have any additional questions, you can leave me a comment on this video, or you can send me an email at OZELLA@theintentionaldollar.com. And hopefully this was helpful and not too confusing for you guys.